You trust your memories. You rely on them to define who you are, what you believe, and how you understand the world. But what if the most personal archive you possess is not a recording device but a storyteller? What if every time you remember something, you are not retrieving the past but rewriting it? Memory feels solid because it carries emotion and detail. You can picture a childhood room, hear a familiar voice, feel the atmosphere of a specific day. That vividness creates confidence. But neuroscience has repeatedly shown that memory is not stored like a video file waiting to be played back. It is reconstructed each time you access it. And reconstruction is vulnerable to distortion. When an experience first occurs, your brain does not store it as a single complete unit. Different aspects are encoded across various regions. Visual components are processed in one area, sounds in another, emotional tone in yet another. The hippocampus acts as a coordinator, linking these distributed pieces into what feels like one memory. But that link is not permanent glue. It is more like a flexible thread. Each time you recall an event, the hippocampus reactivates those scattered elements and assembles them again. During that process, the memory briefly becomes unstable. Neuroscientists call this reconsolidation. In that unstable window, the memory can be modified before being stored again. New information, current beliefs, emotional states, even suggestions from others can subtly alter it. This means remembering is not passive retrieval, it is active reconstruction. And reconstruction is influenced by who you are in the present moment. Consider how siblings often remember the same childhood event differently. One recalls it as joyful, another as stressful. Both are confident, both are sincere. Their brains have edited the experience through years of interpretation. Over time, the narrative attached to the event becomes more important than the original details. Emotion plays a powerful role in shaping this process. Highly emotional events are encoded more strongly, but that does not make them immune to distortion. In fact, intense emotion can narrow attention during the event itself, causing peripheral details to be lost. Later, the brain may fill in those gaps using assumptions. The memory feels complete, but parts of it may be constructed. There is also the influence of repetition. The more often you tell a story about your past, the more stable that version becomes, regardless of its accuracy. Each retelling reinforces certain elements while weakening others. Over time, the memory aligns with the story you prefer or the identity you maintain. This is not deception, it is cognitive efficiency. The brain prioritizes coherence over precision. It wants your past to make sense in relation to your present self. If new beliefs conflict with old memories, the memory may shift slightly to preserve internal consistency. Studies have demonstrated how easily suggestion can alter recollection. When people are exposed to misleading information after an event, many incorporate that information into their memory without realizing it. They are not lying. Their brains have integrated the new detail during reconsolidation. Even photographs, which feel like objective evidence, can shape memory. Seeing an image repeatedly can increase confidence in certain details while diminishing others. Sometimes people develop vivid memories of events that never occurred simply because they were described convincingly or visually suggested. This raises an unsettling question. If memory is flexible, what anchors identity? The answer may be pattern rather than precision. While individual details shift, broader themes tend to remain consistent. You may misremember the exact words spoken during an argument, but the emotional tone, the relationship dynamic, and the meaning you assign to it often persist. Identity is built from these themes, not from flawless accuracy. There is also an evolutionary logic behind this system. Perfect recall would not necessarily improve survival. What matters more is extracting lessons and updating predictions. If slight distortion strengthens learning or emotional adaptation, the brain tolerates it. Memory functions less like an archive and more like a simulation tool. It helps you anticipate the future by referencing the past, even if that reference is imperfect. However, this flexibility has consequences. Trauma can become reinforced through repeated recollection if emotional intensity is not processed. On the other hand, therapeutic techniques can deliberately alter emotional associations with memories, reducing their distressing impact. This demonstrates that memory is not fixed, it is malleable. Your sense of certainty about the past is therefore not proof of accuracy, it is proof of narrative stability. Confidence does not equal correctness. The brain can feel absolutely sure about details that were subtly reshaped. Yet this does not mean you cannot trust yourself at all. It means trust must be nuanced. Memory is reliable in capturing meaning, but less reliable in preserving exact structure. It is faithful to interpretation more than to detail. In this way, memory is not just about the past. It is an ongoing negotiation between past and present. Each recall is an opportunity for revision. Most revisions are small, unnoticed, incremental. But across years, they accumulate. This explains why personal history feels cohesive even though its components have shifted. The brain maintains continuity by adjusting fragments rather than preserving them unchanged. It edits quietly to protect identity coherence. There is a deeper implication here. If your memories shape your beliefs and your beliefs influence how you recall memories, then your mind operates in a feedback loop. Past and present continuously reshape each other. This loop is not a flaw, it is a feature. It allows growth, it allows reinterpretation, it allows resilience, but it also means that certainty about the past should be held with humility. The next time you confidently remember a moment from years ago, consider this possibility. What you are holding may not be a snapshot frozen in time. It may be the latest edition of a story your brain has been revising quietly for years. And perhaps the most remarkable truth is this: your past is not behind you, it is being rewritten inside you. And if that is true, if the past is not a fixed place but a living document, then the stories you carry about yourself deserve far more scrutiny than you have likely given them. Think about the narratives you repeat most often. The moment you were humiliated and decided you were not enough. The time you failed and concluded you were not the kind of person who succeeds. The relationship that ended and confirmed what you secretly feared about yourself. These are not memories anymore, they are verdicts. And you have been retrying the same case with the same evidence for years, never questioning whether the evidence itself has been tampered with. The brain does not preserve those moments neutrally. It preserves them through the lens of every belief you held at the time, every emotion that was running, every interpretation that felt true in that specific season of your life. And then it updates them silently each time you revisit them, layering new meaning, new shame, new justification, until what you call a memory is really a monument you have been building and rebuilding for decades. This is not a reason to distrust yourself entirely. It is a reason to loosen your grip on the stories that limit you. Because if memory is malleable, then the version of your past that has been holding you back is not the final version. It is just the current one, and current things can change. You are not obligated to keep the story that was written about you in your most vulnerable moments. You are not required to carry a narrative assembled by a younger, more frightened version of yourself. Memory is not a prison. It only functions as one when you stop questioning the walls. And questioning the walls is not the same as denying what happened. The events were real, the pain was real. The confusion, the loss, the moments that reshaped you, all of it occurred. Nothing here suggests otherwise. But there is a profound difference between what happened and what you decided it meant. The event is fixed. The meaning is not. And meaning is where you actually live. Most people spend their lives defending an interpretation they formed during their weakest moment. They build identity around a conclusion reached in grief, in fear, in the middle of something they did not yet have the tools to understand. You have more tools now, which means you have something your past self did not have. The ability to look at the same moment and see it differently, not to erase it, not to pretend it was fine, but to finally stop letting it finish your sentences, because the sentences your past writes for you are never truly finished. They only feel that way when you stop authoring them yourself. Every time you recall a memory and assign it the same meaning, you are making a choice. It does not feel like a choice, it feels like fact, but beneath the certainty is a habit. And habits, unlike the past, can be interrupted. You survived the original moment. That required something real in you: resilience, endurance, a will to continue that operated even when you were not aware of it. The question is no longer what happened to you. The question is what you are going to do with who it made you.